Coming up, new rules from the EPA say coal-fired power plants have to capture their smokestack emissions or shut down. The impact that's being felt in the Commonwealth. Plus, a vote today by the FCC could impact your internet speed. The latest decision when it comes to net neutrality.
Plus, we go back to the 80s by this weekend. Those details on the way as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Mountain News First at 4 continues.
The Environmental Protection Agency has announced some strict new rules that will likely impact Kentucky power plants. The EPA says by 2039, coal-fired plants must drastically reduce emissions or shut down. WYMT's Phil Pendleton spoke to those who represent several of the state's electric providers about the announcement.
These rules are designed for power plants to capture the smokestack emissions or to simply shut down. The aim is to transition to what the EPA calls clean energy and to reduce pollution and preserve public health. The rules are targeting coal-fired plants, including those here in Kentucky. The EPA says it is trying to encourage the power industry to make investments to a clean energy economy. Many of the plants are powered by coal, and those that are expected to be operating after 2039 would have to reduce or take hold of 90% of their carbon emissions by 2032. Electric providers in Kentucky are very concerned about the EPA's rules.
We have said all along since this rule was proposed that we believe it's unlawful, that it's unrealistic, that it's unachievable, that it overreaches EPA's authority.
And the EPA's administrator stated in this report that the aim of all of this is to simply to cut down on pollution, to make public health much better for everyone, all the while preserving the electricity that America needs. The rules are expected, however, to face some legal challenges, likely even here in the state of Kentucky. In Lexington, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Coal plants that are expected to retire by 2032 would not be subject to the new rules. The War Daddy race is upon us again. An event that started with just more than 25 racers has grown to more than 100 participants in this year's race. This race is seen as an opportunity for people in Leslie County to have a chance to show off their beautiful home to people around the country and the world.
It has a big impact on us because we're all kind of vain. We think this is one of the prettiest places in the world. We're proud of our town, our county, so we hear it from the bike riders too. They tell us how beautiful it is and the beautiful places they saw and how friendly and nice everybody is to them. We see them eating in the Mexican restaurant and all around town, the parks and different places, and so they're glad to be here, and we're certainly glad to have them.
The War Daddy race will start this Saturday at 9 a.m. at the RV Park in Leslie County.
It is an awesome day to be outdoors across the region. We're tracking some sunny weather and some near average highs. Let's take a live look from Buffalo Mountain in Perry County, and not a cloud in the sky on this Thursday. That current temperature up to 68 degrees in Perry County. Most of us in the upper 60s to lower 70s, up to 71 for Manchester, 70 for Somerset, and 74 over in Harlan County at this hour. Not a drop on first alert pinpoint Doppler, but we are watching out for our next weather system by this time tomorrow. Watching out for a few showers this afternoon over parts of Oklahoma, pushing into Kansas, also Missouri, and this weather system will slowly push into our region as we go into parts of your Friday. Not going to rain all day tomorrow, but a few off and on showers are possible. Tonight though, we are dry, also cool to wake up on Friday. Most of us see middle 40s to wake up and walk out the door, possibly some low 50s in those warmer pockets and maybe some low 40s in those cooler pockets to wake up on Friday. But we are not cool this weekend. We see some 80s and maybe some middle 80s by Sunday, also by next Monday. All those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thanks. The New York Appeals Court has overturned Harvey Weinstein's 2020 rape conviction. The trial started in 2017 after many people accused the Hollywood movie producer of sexual assault and misconduct, kickstarting the Me Too movement. The The court found the judge at that trial prejudiced Weinstein with egregious improper rulings, including a decision to let women testify about allegations that were not part of the case. This means Weinstein will get a new trial. He's been in prison in New York since 2018. The FCC voted to reinstate net neutrality today. That means internet providers will not be able to speed up or slow down certain traffic. The new FCC rules ban blocking, throttling, or disadvantaging certain content, apps, or services. They also bar prioritizing them in return for payment. The FCC says it will take a couple of months to enact the rules, but opponents are already gearing up for legal challenges. A memorial service was held in Washington, D.C., honoring the 7 World Central Kitchen Aid workers killed in an Israeli strike in Gaza. Mourners gathered at the National Cathedral in Washington for an interfaith celebration of life. Chef and philanthropist Jose Andres eulogized the 7 men and women who work for the relief organization he founded. He had a special message for their families.
But I promise you, we will not forget what they did for the hungry and for the world. Their example should inspire us to do better, to be better.
The aid workers were killed April 1st when strikes from Israeli drones hit their convoy as they headed out on a food delivery mission in Gaza. Israel dismissed 2 officers for the deadly mistake. Another tense day of protests over Israel's war in Gaza. They are taking place on college campuses all across the country. CBS's Nancy Chen is at Columbia University, which has been a flashpoint for more than a week now.
Overnight, chaos erupted as police tried to break up a pro-Palestinian encampment at Emerson College in Boston as the latest flashpoint in a growing movement at campuses nationwide protesting Israel's war in Gaza. On Wednesday, demonstrators clashed with school security at USC in Los Angeles after school police ordered students to move their encampment.
Both sides of my family were displaced from Palestine, and I'm here using my voice because my grandparents couldn't.
By nighttime, police shut the gates to the school and pushed pro-Palestinian protesters out. Also on Wednesday, hundreds gathered at the University of Texas at Austin, where they were met with a show of force as well. In New York, Republican House Speaker Mike Johnson was interrupted by loud booing during his visit to Columbia University, the epicenter of demonstrations calling for cutting all school financial ties to Israel and amnesty for students punished for participating in protests. He claimed the university is being taken over by a radical and extreme ideology, citing several recent incidents of anti-Semitic language by protesters on and off campus.
I am here today joining my colleagues and calling on President Shafiq to resign if she cannot immediately bring order to this chaos.
The school says it's making progress in negotiations with demonstrators.
We need the National Guard, law enforcement, or someone to come in here and take control.
Are you calling for the National Guard to come here?
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul accused Speaker Johnson of politicizing the protest by coming to campus and said she has no plans to call in the National Guard, at least for now. The university has set a deadline of midnight tonight for protesters to leave their encampments. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Pope Francis is once again calling for the fighting in Gaza to stop. In an exclusive interview with CBS Evening News anchor Norah O'Donnell, the 87-year-old pontiff said he receives daily reports about the struggle for food in Gaza. It's the first time a pope has given an in-depth one-on-one interview to a U.S. broadcast network.
It's very hard, very, very hard. Food goes in, but they have to fight for it. It's very hard.
I know you call for peace. You have called for a ceasefire in many of your sermons. Can you help negotiate peace?
I can pray. I do. I pray a lot.
You can watch an extended version of Norah's interview with Pope Francis Sunday, May 19th on 60 Minutes, followed by a primetime special on Monday, May 20th, right here on WYMT. A fourth channel opened at the port of Baltimore today, allowing larger ships to pass the wreckage of the collapsed Key Bridge. According to the Maryland Port Administration, the new channel is expected to be open for 4 days. 3 other channels will remain available for smaller commercial vessels. Officials say next the focus will shift to moving the Dolly cargo ship that crashed into the bridge last month and reopening the full channel. They expect that permanent channel to be open by the end of May. Coming up on First at 4, many small SUVs fail to prevent a head-on crash at high speeds. We'll share the results of a new test.
Plus, we are tracking some spotty showers to end the work week. Stay with us, your forecast after this break.